Welcome to your Urban Connection. Remember, this is the channel that is often imitated, but is never duplicated. And part of the reason for that is because of the fact that we talk about things that most people simply won't talk about. You see, I'm a podcaster, not a newscaster. I talk about things that newscasters cannot and will not talk about. And that's what we're going to do tonight. You see, I didn't know how long it would be before I got around to this topic, but I knew it was coming. It was just a matter of time. And that time is now here. So tonight, I'm going to talk to some of you that need to hear this. And for some of them, you maybe not. But anyhow, after listening to this show, I want you all to share this with your friends, relatives, and neighbors. Because certainly there's an awful lot of people out there in this world that need to know the information that I'm about to provide you. Now, the topic tonight is your sex safe? That's right. We're going there. Is your sex safe? Now, you might ask why I have this topic on this show. Well, the reason for it is very simple, ladies and gentlemen. STDs are on the increase in a big way in the United States. And let me give you a little bit of an example. Syphilis has increased in some areas, such as Lubbock, Texas, by 500% in the last 5 years. In Houston, the number is about 200%. In other cities around the country, it's rising similar to those numbers. Now, the problem is that too many people are taking these diseases much too lightly. So let me tell you what I'm talking about. Many of the younger people in particular are having sex with almost complete strangers. People they've not taken the time to get to know. We're seeing men and women jumping in bed with other men and women without having the least bit of knowledge about their hygiene, their sexual habits, their sexual preferences. And let me tell you what I mean by that. There's men that are jumping in bed with women. They don't know what nor who these women are sleeping with. And the same goes true for the women. They're jumping in bed with people they have no idea who they're sleeping with. Now, to be honest, there's a lot of men out there that are on the down low. And there's also some women that are on the down low. Now, these people, for the most part, won't reveal that information to you. And certainly not when you're jumping in bed on the first date, or you're jumping in bed because some guy bought you a couple of drinks at the club, or maybe he bought you a lobster dinner at your favorite seafood restaurant, and then he takes you straight to bed. You willingly go. You don't know anything about this guy. And you guys are jumping in bed with women because they got big behinds and big breasts, and that's appealing to you. And beyond that, you don't know anything about this woman, except that you picked her up at a club, or you picked her up at a laundromat, or maybe you met her in a grocery store, you had a brief conversation, and the next thing you know, you're in bed with her. You know nothing about her sexual habits, her sexual tendencies, nor her sexual desires. You know, and then there's some of you, both men and women, that are jumping in bed with people to go to bed with other men and women. You don't know that. You haven't met or you haven't known them. Sometimes you guys jump into bed with somebody you've known for less than 24 hours. And you've got all kinds of sexual diseases out there that are on the rise all over this country. So it doesn't make any difference really what state you're in. Doesn't make any difference what city you're in. Syphilis, gonorrhea, chlamydia, all of those are on the rise. Now, the big thing is the syphilis carries with it an added cause, and that is the rates are also increasing in syphilis that is transferred through pregnant women to their babies. Okay? It's called congenital sex. Okay, and it's transferred. Oftentimes, the number of babies that die from this type of syphilis is and can be dealt with, but oftentimes it results in death to the infants. You see, these are things that we really need to know about and we need to be talking about. Now, the reason I'm talking to you about it is because for the most part, nobody else will. Your parents, your mothers, your fathers don't talk to you about these things. Your sisters and brothers don't talk to you about these things. Your friends don't talk to you about these things. Your neighbors don't talk to you about these things. So who's going to tell you about them? Who's going to alert you? Who's going to tell you what you're walking into if you don't utilize safe sex? Now, I want to say right now before I go any further, if you are practicing sex, and in particular, you're wild with your sex, and you're not using prophylactics, and for those of you that do not know the meaning of prophylactics, the better known name for it is condoms. If you don't have condoms in your possession before you hop in the bed with somebody, as soon as you finish watching this video, you need to run out to your local drugstore or Walmart or wherever they sell prophylactics, better known as condoms, and load up, ladies and gentlemen. Because the best way to avoid, and I don't care if you're male or female, the best way to avoid most of these diseases is through the use of a condom. And certainly you want to protect yourself against contacting or contracting a disease that you can pass along to your infant or the child that's in your belly if you're a female. Okay? Because if you do not, and you do not seek medical care, let me just tell you, oftentimes syphilis does not have any warning, and it can lie dormant in your body for long periods of time, but that doesn't mean that it's going away. It's just lying dormant. Now, what are the symptoms of syphilis? Normally, once you contract it, you will have sores in your genital area and around your mouth. Those are the main two. But you could also have symptoms such as fevers, headaches, fatigue, and other symptoms. You need to know these. And if you can't talk with your parents, you can't talk with your siblings, you can't talk with your friends, at least talk to your doctor. Get yourself tested. And in particular, if you're pregnant, you should have a test for syphilis within your first trimester. Okay? Now, syphilis can be cured with an antibiotic. And the best one that's been around for the longest to treat syphilis is a drug by Pfizer called penicillin. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, these diseases are rising at such a rate that Pfizer has announced that they can't keep up with the demand for their product. And in a lot of cases, penicillin will not be available until probably this time in 2024. In the meantime, doctors and hospitals are utilizing a secondary cure for this. But by all means, you people need to slow down on, first of all, having sex with somebody you don't know. Having sex with somebody you just met less than 24 hours ago. Some guy that bought you 2 drinks in a nightclub and then takes you to a motel or to his apartment or to his house. For you women, just because a guy takes you out and buys you a nice dinner and yet hasn't taken the time to get to know you, doesn't mean you have to go hop into bed with him. That's not an automatic. Buying you dinner should not be an automatic. But if you are hot to trot, okay, and you're wild, and you don't think any more of yourself and your body than to take the risk with somebody that you don't know of catching one of these STDs, I feel sorry for you. Now, I want you to understand something. Let's go back to this. As I just said earlier, a lot of men are on the down low. You know? Now, you people have to understand something. Just because a guy is an athlete doesn't mean he's not on the down low. Every one of you, I bet you right now, you know an athlete that is on the down low. Just because someone is in the church doesn't mean they're not on the down low. I could bet you that any of you out there that go to a church with more than 100 members, you know somebody that's on the down low or is gay in that church. Don't pretend that you don't. Now, just because somebody is a businessman, that does not mean that he is not on the down low. Do you know him? Do you know for a fact he's not? Just because the guy is rich does not mean he's not on the down low. Will he tell you that? Probably not. But some of you will engage in sex acts with men you know are on the down low. Some of you women won't even marry men that you know are on the down low. And yet you're willing to put yourself and your body, and possibly your child, in that position of taking that risk. I'm sorry, I'm just calling it like I see it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling it like it is. You all have to learn to think twice. Now, there's some of you out there that are so hot to trot you want to have a baby. and you don't really care who the daddy is, you just want to have a baby. You're telling yourself you want somebody that you can love. But do you want that baby to suffer the risk that they might or might not live 2 months, 3 months, 6 months after birth if you have passed along syphilis to that child, to that unborn child? And then they are born with that disease. Is that what you want to do? Is that the risk you want to take? Then think twice. Think twice before you hop in the bed without any protection, without any idea who the hell you're getting in bed with. You just want to have fun. Well, let me just tell you something. There's an old adage that I learned a long time ago. Everything that looks good to you is not good for you. And the sooner you people learn that, the better off you'll be. Okay, I can guarantee you that this is not something that you want to do, not a risk that you want to take, not if you have 1 ounce of self-respect. Okay? Now, let me give an example. You people, most of you have heard about the last 30 to 60 days, heard about the actions and antics of a couple of NBA players. And their names are public, so I can mention it. Dwight Howard now finds himself involved in a lawsuit by men, or a man at least, and this is not the first one, that is claiming that he engaged in sexual acts with Dwight Howard. You've heard about the episodes and the antics of Zion Williamson, who's now entangled in maybe a career-ending situation with a porn star that he engaged in all kinds of acts with, and she's putting him on blast all over the internet. Or maybe you've heard about the LSU championship female team last year, and their star, who admitted last week that she was in love with a female team member after telling everybody she was dating an NBA star. So there you have it. Everything that glitters is not gold, ladies and gentlemen. So I want you to take this advice that I'm giving you. And this is a very serious matter, very serious issue. This is probably the most serious show that I've done while I've had this podcast. This is a life or death issue if you're not careful. Now, there's an old saying, you can lead the horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Everything I'm saying here might go in one ear and out the other, but you can't say that I didn't warn you. You can't say that I didn't tell you. You can never say that I didn't inform you of the dangers and the risk that you have if you engage in risky, unsafe, unprotected sex with someone you don't know a damn thing about. So there you have it. It's up to you what you do with it. And I would ask you people, everyone watching this, share this video, because there's an awful lot of people out there that don't have contact with me, and I don't have contact with them, that need to hear this message. Because I want to tell you, the African American population, the low income population of all races, is the ones that are most affected by these diseases. They're the ones that need to hear this message the most. And a lot of them won't hear it if you don't share this video with your friends, your neighbors, your relatives, and your social media friends and associates. Okay? So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. And like I said, these diseases are spreading at a rapid pace, a pace that has not been seen since maybe the 70s or 80s. After all, there were some places where they didn't have any instances of syphilis for the last maybe 10 to 15 years. But now it's back, and it's increasing rapidly. And I can guarantee you it's coming to a city near you soon, right? That's my show. Thanks for watching.